now.
If you had to lose one item into the fire, what would you rather be, a hot dog or a marshmallow? 80% of people saying they couldn't bear to lose the hot dog.
How about that?
But when a marshmallow's burning, it's on fire, man, that's just a horrible feeling, too.
Right. I know.
And you can't touch it.
And you're looking around, everybody's occupied with their own thing. And you're dialed in. Help me, somebody blow it out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show. It is, what is it? Tuesday. A shout out to Ryan in Saratoga, New York. He's on it. He's like, hey, good afternoon. You're impressed by that,
Well, good afternoon, North America, but he's also saying it to Mexico and Norway because we got Armando down there and we got Trent in Norway. And
from the No Credentials Required podcast. Hey, I said to my wife this morning as I was coming downstairs, can you check the temp, please? And she did. She's like, it's 10 degrees Celsius. I said, I'm in. Spring has sprung. Can you see my shorts? Oh, yeah. Summer's here, baby. And actually, after tonight, it is summertime.
I know.
As far as our hockey season ending.
I saw that 20 degrees this afternoon. I'm just like, let's go.
Yesterday, the infamous Paul, the third musketeer around here, says to me, where's Big Bird? Which is my Jeep that has no lid. And you actually answered it for me. You're like, it's a little cold yet, Paul.
Yeah, it was 0 or -3 like first thing in the morning.
Yeah, yesterday.
We're in that fall weather where it's like sweaters in the morning and shorts in the afternoon.
So we will get to your comments in a moment, everybody. This is the warm-up, affectionately brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace. And by the way, Georgie Yanitsos over at the Four Seasons, the Greek freak. Condolences from us on the passing of your mother. She's a great lady. Always greeted you with a smile at the front door of the Four Seasons, and she passed over the weekend, so our condolences to the Yanitsos family. On the program today, we've got Darren Urban from ArizonaCardinals.com. He is the senior writer from the Cardinals website. There's a lot of Cardinals fans. Around here, we noticed the last time that we had Darren on. And his wife's from Saskatoon. Remember that? He just dropped that at the end of the interview.
That wasn't the connection to get the interview.
No. At the end of the interview, he was like, I love Canadians. My wife's from Saskatoon. What? Well, we're out of time now. We'll have to ask him today.
Yes.
And Mitch Peacock will join us, the voice of the Winnipeg Ice. Pats and the Ice close out their season tonight under the orange top. And we'll talk some Winnipeg Jets with him. And can I get it out of the way now? An apology. I was in my home steam this morning thinking, I can't forget the ice hat. I can't forget the ice hat. I can't forget the ice hat. And then I forgot the ice hat that the Winnipeg Ice gave me that was adorning. Yeah, I know. I'm such a squirrel. I just got to write stuff down on my hand.
Yeah.
I got to start. But then in the steam, it would just go. But the Winnipeg Ice have been walking around the Brandt Center, tossing out gear. You get a hat. You get a hat. Everybody gets a hat. Like Oprah. They're the Oprah of the Western Hockey League. And as Ryan said, are they got a lot of money or are they just good guys? I said, both. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So thank you, Winnipeg Ice. You've made a lot of fans here in the Dub Hub. One more before we get into the quick six from Simon Fudge. He says, good evening from Doha, Qatar. Just went for a jog in 30-plus degree weather, warm and humid. Hope you guys are well. Simon, are you rubbing it in? Simon says it's 30-plus degrees Celsius.
He knows that we are warm weather guys, right?
Yeah, he must. Hope you're having fun, Simon. Thanks for saying hey. Roger Yee is watching from Calgary. Says, good morning, Rod Squad. We got him around the world today. Let's check in with the quick six show topics, please. Director Jordan, please, and thank you. Somebody turned up my volume here. I like it. Monday, NHL Leftovers. It begins with and ends with Jets. Jets. I don't remember what the final score was of the Jets-Oilers game because, as I've realized, a 3-0 lead in the National Hockey League, no matter the teams, midway through the second period, is generally a lock. And the Oilers ran away with it, and I think the Oilers and Jets have met 8 times already this year, and the Oilers have won 6. And watching the game last night, watching Twitter at the same time, never a good idea, but I did it anyways. And the people are throwing in the towel on the Winnipeg Jets. And our good friend Jim Toth, formerly of TSN 1290 Winnipeg, saying either this is a blip and the playoffs start in 2 weeks, and there'll be a different team, or this is the beginning of the end. And I saw a lot of that. I got to just say this to the Jets fans. We got a lot watching. Now is not the time to throw in the towel with 2 weeks to go in the regular season. I understand they didn't have Nikolai Ehlers. Who knows if Blake Wheeler's at 100%? That's not the point. You said you didn't watch very much hockey last night. I watched 2 games. The Flames and the Habs didn't have playoff intensity, I'm sorry, and the Jets and the Oilers. And it did. But I mean, McDavid, he had another hat trick last night, and he's just blowing by the Winnipeg Jets. Connor Hellebuck's eyes get this big. Look, I understand it's a little bit of intimidating when you got Connor McDavid coming down at yet 117 miles an hour. You got it. This is what Paul Maurice is doing today with his coaching staff, figuring out a way to stop Connor McDavid defensively. And it doesn't begin and end with Connor Hellebuck, but you know what they're going to say. Connor, you are the best goalie in the National Hockey League. Okay, you're our guy, but you need to start playing like it. You need to be the Connor Hellebuck that we know. No more of this allowing 3 goals on 6 shots stuff or letting McDavid overwhelm you. Because there's only 1 or 2 points between the Oilers and the Jets in the standings. And I saw the people on, I know this is going on real long, but I'm passionate about it. I saw the people last night in Winnipeg saying, oh, we couldn't beat the Oilers in the 80s because they had Gretzky. Now we can't beat the Oilers in the 2020s because they got McDavid. That team had 5 Hall of Famers in Edmonton. Nobody was beating Edmonton. Nobody. Not just a Winnipeg. This team has one Connor McDavid. And other teams are figuring out how to get this guy off his game. We talked about it last week. So, no, Paul Maurice isn't throwing in the towel. They're devising a way because they know they're going to be playing the Edmonton Oilers in round 1 to neutralize Connor McDavid. Everybody needs to be better. And by the way, when you turn the puck over in the offensive zone, don't just stand there and crap your pants and just look and see McDavid go the other way. You know, I've said all year the Jets are probably the fastest team in the National Hockey League, but you don't have to just skate one way. You can skate 2 ways. Back-checking's been a problem with the Winnipeg Jets all year. So, look, maybe they don't figure it out, and maybe they wilt in round 1 against the Edmonton Oilers, but I expect way more from the Winnipeg Jets. But to see people throwing in the towel with 2 weeks to go in the regular season because you can't beat the Oilers in the regular season, very disappointing to me. It's a 7-minute rant on point 1, Darren.
I want more of it. I want more of that. And I think our viewers do too.
Why? What are they saying?
Well, they're into it. And, you know, it's good. I mean, we have a passionate fan base too. And, I mean, Edmonton does. So do the Jets. But they can play with anybody. Right? But it's those mistakes. You talk about no back checking. You talk about the goaltending has to be there. You can't have those lulls. McDavid will put it in the back of your net so fast.
Hey, by the way, our dude Chip-In's watching from Seattle. He says, RP, the best to do it. I chatted with Nick Lewis out front of the studio here before I came in, and I said, your dude Chip-In in Seattle, I like that guy. And Nick's like, he's all in, man. He watches the show all the time. Remember when we had him on last week? And he's watching today. We're talking about the Winnipeg Jets. I don't understand why the Americans care about this stuff. But we're not stopping now.
That's right.
I didn't want to put it on Twitter because it would live there forever, but I'll say it here. Here's what I was thinking when the Flames were wilting to the Montreal Canadiens. And I said I was watching all the games. I was last night. Flames are coming onto the ice, and Rick Ball's calling the game, and he goes, playoff atmosphere here tonight for the Canadiens and the Flames. And then they dropped the puck. To me, that was the end of the playoff. I didn't get a playoff vibe off the Calgary Flames last night. And when they lost another one, 2-1 to Montreal, which probably sealed their fate, I'm like, oh, well, Calgary can go back to ignoring the Stampeders earlier than normal now. Too soon?
It's the way it is in Calgary. Right. Unfortunately, that they missed it. That was a big opportunity, right? Gone. Vancouver now, you know, you look at Vancouver and Calgary, you know, I'll never write them out until they're actually out because there's some talent there, but it's tough now. And when you look at Edmonton, Winnipeg, it's not about necessarily the results right now for Winnipeg and Edmonton. It's about preparing for a playoff series between Winnipeg and Edmonton because it's coming. Mm-hmm. It's coming.
Oh, right. That's what they're doing today.
It's coming.
Paul Maurice isn't sitting in his office wringing his hands making golf tee times. He's looking at the video from last night saying, how do we stop this guy? How are other teams stopping this guy? Watching, he's probably already been doing it, right? Trying to get his players to do it. Anyways, where was the comment here from Jack in Alberta regarding Goldberg? Can you guys put it up on the screen? It just came up here. Can you find it? Oh, here it is. From Jack in Vulcan, Alberta. He says, did you fellas know that Wanda Goldberg, wife of pro wrestler Bill Goldberg, is from Saskatchewan? Yes, Guy. She's from Emerald Park. I've known that for 20 years. It's a Saskatchewan thing. We all know each other.
Like, yeah.
We all knew that.
Everybody.
Long time ago. I like it. From Chip In. Yes, our founder and CEO is all in. He's watching always, even while he's working. I don't get why the Americans love this so much.
How about that?
How about that? From John in Edmonton. He says to the Stampeders fan, Jeff, Rod, how do you feel about what Rod has said about the Flames today? What, that they lost? Didn't you watch the game? They lost. How do you get mad at me for pointing out that they lost? Anyways, moving on. Just so you know, heading into the spring, we'll be all over the Stanley Cup playoffs and the National Hockey League because you will be too. Point two, hey, they're playing in the queue. And last night, best of 5 opening round series, Victoriaville, Chicoutimi advanced. And again in the Dub Hub, the Winnipeg Heist had a big heist over the PA Raiders yesterday. Big third period comeback. Peyton Krebs plays his last game in the Western Hockey League tonight before departing for Las Vegas and the Golden Knights. We'll be calling it, okay? 6 p.m. Mountain. And 7 p.m. Mountain is Canada against Sweden on TSN. So set your PVRs for both. Connor Bedard, Shane Wright, and Team Canada taking on Sweden. Moving on. Point 3, Canadian football groups have sent a letter to the Canadian Football League wanting to be kept abreast of any potential league rule changes in a merger with the CFL and the XFL. I talked to some of those football organizations yesterday. More than anything, they're a little disappointed they didn't get a response from the Canadian Football League, but that is a matter for another time. I'm sure you read the story. How do you feel about, who was it? Canadian Football Officials Association, I think Football Canada. There was 3 or 4 bodies that got together and sent a letter to Randy Ambrosie saying, we'd like to know what's happening here. And here's why. Think about this for a second, because I've known about this letter for 10 days, I think, that it was going. If you're going to change field dimensions in Mosaic Stadium in Saskatchewan, IG Field in Winnipeg, and McMahon Stadium in Calgary, that affects the Dinos, the Rams, the Bisons, McGill out in Montreal. You get it, right? So they want to know what's going on.
For sure. Of course they do.
What was your take on that news?
I think, concerning a little bit in terms of why do you have to send a letter, right? What's happened that you have to send a letter, and why aren't there open lines of communication? And it's not that, and the CFL will be sitting back being like, look, when there's something to tell you, we'll make sure we keep everybody informed. But those leagues and those other different organizations don't feel that that's coming. So there's a reason they sent the letter, right?
And didn't get a response.
And didn't get a reply. So it's a fractured relationship, and there's a complete lack of working together, which is unfortunate.
Hey, this is good. They're going back and forth in Alberta about my comments on the Flames, and Calgary can start ignoring the Stampeders earlier than normal because the Flames are going to miss the playoffs. Jeff says, par for the course, no feeling. See, they can take their shots over there at the 306. The second I lob one back over the border, I'm the jerk. See how it works?
You got to be okay with that.
Yeah, not having it anymore. Not having it. Shadows watching from Brandon, Manitoba. Shadow says, and this phenomena occurs in CFL cities near you. What is he referring to? What are you referring to, Shadow? The guy who called me the Howard Stern of sports talk the other day. We're getting hung up on a few points here, which is fine. but we do got to move. Point 4, the final CFL Scouting Bureau rankings came out yesterday. Joshua Palmer has leapt to number 1 overall. Tennessee wide receiver from Mississauga, I believe. Toronto suburb. Joshua Palmer, number 1. Chuba Hubbard has slipped to number 5, and I wonder why. There's going to be a conference call today with Rams prospect Kyle Borsa, or he's a Rams star. He's a CFL prospect. We're going to be on that, so we'll see what happens today, what he has to say. What is interesting about the CFL draft, Darren, as you know, is what's your need? For instance, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, which are here in our backyard, I don't think they're looking at Josh Palmer. They've got tremendous young Canadian receivers, right? Maybe they take a flyer on Chuba Hubbard. I don't know. But that's how the CFL draft is just a different animal than any other draft. You're not taking the best player.
No.
Maybe the best player at your position that you need, but not the best player overall.
That's right. And unfortunately, the difference is you're not drafting a franchise-altering player. I mean, drafting, don't get me wrong, there's been franchise-altering players that have come through the Canadian draft. But predominantly, where do you need help? Where can a Canadian slot in and really, tilt the scales in your favor? And he will for somebody. When you can have a star Canadian receiver or on the line, or, it'll be fun to watch and see where it all shakes out. It really will.
Jason from Red Deer, the Puck and Pigskin podcast, has done a super chat. He's dropped $5 to get us to say, dang it, guys, sorry I'm late. There's a real S&M dominatrix thing going on. Like they like when I yell at them.
Some people do. And hey, different strokes, right?
Oh my God.
For different folks.
I think they would call him a submissive.
But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. This is daytime TV, not late night TV. But but you know what? That's the rule, right? If you want to be involved in the chat, which we love,
drop some change.
You got to pay. Well, you got to pay the fine when you're late. If you show up on time, it's free game.
Hey, I see that Darren Urban is locked in and ready to go from Arizona, so I'll just fly through the last few points here. Number 5, the Toronto Blue Jays are home to Washington. Home-ish in Dunedin, Florida tonight, opening a midweek set. Jays 3-3 in Dunedin, by the way. And a little later on, I'm going to read off the entire injury list for the Blue Jays. It's a who's who, don't you know? It's amazing they're still in contention in the American League East. Big game tonight. And point 6, the story that Darren broke yesterday, Brandon Cote will be Mike Babcock's assistant coach with the U of S men's Huskies hockey team. Brandon Cote joining Mike Babcock on the bench of the Huskies. We'll talk about that later, okay?
Sounds good.
This has been the warm-up for the Four Seasons Sports Palace, and when we come back, we're going to Arizona, the Valley of the Sun. Darren Urban of the Cardinals joins us in advance of the NFL Draft. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus television across all 10 provinces and 31 states. Live daily on YouTube and Facebook, and 24-hour sports talk at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.